Hello, this is Scott Holcomb, Superintendent of North Attleborough Public Schools. Thank you for joining the 2018 budget presentation. Should you have any questions about the presentation, please feel free to email me or to leave a comment in the YouTube box found below. I'll be walking you through a series of slides and explaining each slide, and we will have other series of presentations also on this YouTube channel. First slide we're looking at here is the budget history of North Attleborough over a 9-year period. What we can see is in 2009, our budget was at $34 million. In 2017, our current year, we're working with $36 million. The overall increase over the 9-year period is 6.6% cumulative. This results in a budget that's actually increasing an overall average rate of less than 1% each year from 2009 to 2017. The budget's increasing at that average. However, our fixed costs are outpacing that, being around 2.5% to 3% to maintain our current structure that we have. Therefore, each year, for the majority of the times, we're in a continual deficit. Here we're looking at the budget history in North Attleborough from 2001 all the way to the current year we're in 2017. What we can see right in the left-hand side is back in 2001 the budget was $26,700,000, and the red line shows the trend that the budget's taken over that duration of time all the way up to this point here that we're at today. So we see a steady increase, it looks like, visually overall, but what we want to do is normalize the budget and say if we were working in the same dollars that we had in 2001, what would this amount be today really relative to 2001? Well, we find out that today's dollars that we have to work with, which is $26,725,000 when normalized, is less than what we had to work with in 2001. Yet we've seen changes in student populations, we've seen changes in state mandates, we've seen increased changes for the busing, fixed costs go up. So we don't have any more money to work with today than we did in 2001. We actually have less buying power today than 2001. This slide here demonstrates to anyone watching that our rankings in North Attleborough relative to the state in 3 categories. They are the property wealth, the per capita income, and the per pupil spending in our schools. And what you can see is that we rank in North Attleborough 65th in the 65th percentile in the state for per capita income, 41% for property wealth, however 1% for per pupil spending. This is the area of concern, that when we take a peek at these 2 pieces here that make up property wealth and per capita income, and we relate it back over to our per pupil spending, you can see that we normally want to have this amount being larger than 1% and at least mirroring property wealth or falling in between the property wealth and per capita income. We took a peek at the town's per capita property wealth in North Attleborough, found it to be at $121,000. We took a plus and minus $5,000 in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to do a comparative analysis relative to our per pupil expenditure. As many of you know, we are 3rd lowest in the state on per pupil expenditure. So we want to take a peek at what towns relative to per capita property wealth plus or minus 5,000 we'd be compared to. And when we look at our property wealth compared to the towns that line up to our per capita property wealth, North Attleborough falls almost in last place. We want to be obviously moving up this chart when it comes to looking at our per pupil expenditure. As part of the FY2018 budget, we need to have a return of the social emotional supports a bolstering of it. And we're looking at bringing back school adjustment counselors into our model. As many of you may recall, we cut the school adjustment counselors out of the budget in FY17, and based on student needs, we have to bolster that with additional supports in the form of school adjustment counselors. And the total dollar amount we expect to spend on that is the $180,000. We have a math teacher that needs to be put back into the budget. This was on last year's presentation also, and that's going to help increase the math offerings over at NAMS. That math teacher is fair market value of $45,000 budget. Then we have the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. They came to visit the high school and gave us an accreditation rating of warning status. The first time in the history of North Attleborough Public Schools that the high school had this kind of a rating. And one of the things they cited us on was an area standard for community resources for learning. There was significant concern that came out of the report for the overseeing of curriculum instruction. So to help oversee that, a curriculum instruction director valued at fair market value of $105,000 would need to be hired to help us oversee that. If people are watching, these are things that are not uncommon to have. Many districts have multiple curriculum instruction directors. Our district would need to have one to help us also move away from the warning status at NEASC, but also to help us implement further the new state standards and to help evaluate our educators. This leads us to the 2018 budget request. The current year we have $36,249,000 that we're working with, and we're asking for $37,379,000 for next year, which comes out to be a 3.1% increase from 2017 to 2018, including the previous slides wants or needs the district has in that 3.1%. However, what we've been told as of the date of March 10th, 2017 is we actually are going to have, as a school district right now, the projected amount, it would be minus $110,000 below the amount we're working with this year. So you can see that we actually are going to have a deficit of over $1 million for our district going into FY 2018. The next slide that you'll see in the next presentation you're going to see will have a breakdown of the line items that make up this year's budget, last year's budget, and the requests for the 2018 budget. So I want to thank you for joining us for this brief presentation. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment boxes below the YouTube video, or to email me directly at sholcomb@naschools.net. Thanks again. I hope you found the video useful.